The other very critical thing we do is maybe we're in 23 or 4 days after cutting first cut silage, and we wean the ewes at that stage, wean the lambs. June can be a bit of a month, that it gets stronger, it's not palatable.
Hello, I'm Kieran Lynch and welcome to OviCast, the Teagasc Sheep podcast. Each episode will bring you latest insights, advice and technical updates for the sheep industry. Now this week I got the opportunity to sit down with father and son duo Eddie and Aidan Connell, who farm at Clonbullogue, County Offaly, and who are hosting this year's Irish Grassland Association sheep event. The father and son partnership are running 400 ewes in a mid-season flock. They're finishing upwards of 150 bulls and grow their own winter barley and maize for their own use. Eddie and Aidan talked to us about how each of the enterprises operate, the integrated nature of the farm. We discussed some of the challenges this spring and the carryover impacts of last year's drought on flock productivity. We discussed grazing management, paddock setup, silage, and the impact all that has on lamb performance. In our last stock purchase on the farm, Eddie talks to us about the importance of a good vaccination programme for purchased ewes and weanlings each autumn. Another key consideration for farmers managing the workload, and Aidan talks to us about a sheep shed they constructed in 2018, some of the key adaptations he's made to it, as well as upgrades to their handling system to improve labour efficiency on the farm. We hear from Eddie first as he talks about the different systems they're running on the farm.
We do about 15 hectares of tillage, 400 ewes and maybe fatten 150 bulls.
Each year, so there's quite a lot going on. Like it's an integrated system. You're running the three different enterprises together.
Yeah.
We might tease out them a little bit, like the sheep system on the farm. Your 400 ewes, what are they?
They're Suffolk Cheviot Cross ewes, Burrish ewes as they would normally be described as,
You're buying all them ewes in?
Yeah, we will replace about 25% of the ewes every year.
So it's an all-in, all-out system. You're buying in Tullow every year, are you?
We're buying in about 100 ewes every year.
Okay.
And then hopefully have most of our lambs gone by the end of September.
So them ewes, what are you putting back across them ewes? What ram?
Oh, the Texel, all 5-star Texels. Okay, always have been doing that since the 5 stars came out.
It's an all-in, all-out system.
Yeah, it's an all-in, all-out system. Yeah, we buy weanlings in anytime from September on. That's why we want most of the lambs gone by then.
Yeah, the demand on the farm changes.
Yeah, and we want them ideally here for about a month before we put them in to acclimatise them and get the disease problems and all that out of the way.
Okay, so you're hitting ground. So where are the weanlings coming from? Mainly the west or the south, or?
Yeah, mostly from the west now, and some from the south, and I would buy some locally. But there's not that many lambs, not that many sucklers locally now,
It's all continentals you're going for?
It's all continentals, yes, nothing else is tolerated.
So they're coming in as weanlings. When are you selling them out again?
Well, they're generally here a little over a year, we'll be selling what we buy in September, October, we'll go on from January to February the following year, But then the stronger ones that we have, we would fatten them the same year as the following year that we buy them in. We only have them for 7 or 8 months.
There's a bit under 16 months and then the rest are...
Well, there's not much under 16 because, we're different to somebody who's breeding them themselves, No, we're generally selling bulls at 450 kilos.
You're pushing on with them?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, like the tillage on the farm, what are you putting in there?
It's winter barley, really, most of the time. And we're followed in with maize, about 4 hectares of maize every year and about 11 or 12 of winter barley. That winter barley kind of is the bulk of the feed that we use.
You see, you have the feed out of it, you have the straw out of it, you're using all that on the farm.
Yeah, the feed and the straw, and we have that flexibility and comfort,
It's kind of there in the bank before you go looking for feed, particularly in the year after going through what feed.
Oh yeah. It's very, very difficult. When you were meeting everybody in the martins, and the meals too dear for sheep or for weanlings,
Yeah, you have it for both.
Yeah.
So Aidan, you're mixing all that ration on your own farm here.
Yeah. So we set up a new roller system there this year, which improved the time spent at it. But mixing all our own rations here.
That's for the ewes and for the cattle?
Yeah.
Okay, so it keeps it simple, so it does. And as I said, like you have that on the farm, so that's the basis. You're buying in the straights, obviously, for the rest.
Yeah.
Okay. We might just go back to the sheep end of it for a minute. Like, so you're a March lamb and flock, 400 ewes, busy March. Like this year was difficult, so it was. When do you kick off Aidan lambing?
We were due to start the 1st of March. It kicked off a couple of weeks before that, like, but a few early ones. But I suppose lambing really starts in January when you have them sorted and in and starting to feed and do all that really.
And just maybe like take us through this year. So you're like scanning January, as you said, look, it kicks off at that point. How did scanning go for you this year?
It was disappointing now. You was working in maybe as good in condition with the drought conditions we got last year.
Yeah, so look, and put that in context, you did get hit pretty bad back in the last year, probably a bit later even than...
Yeah, and I suppose the natural instinct was to put the ewes somewhere because they weren't in the productive element of the farm, so you were kind of putting them under more pressure than we maybe should have, like, you know. And
probably like the one difference anyone experienced it last year, that drought hit later in the year, there wasn't as much time to catch up.
No.
How did, like, you were okay for grass last year, or how did you carry through? You had a bit of forage crop in, had you?
Yeah, it was
okay silage wise, but you know, it's from the end of July on, the drought really hit.
It kicked in. Like, what way did you carry them through September, October, November?
We had them on grass for that period of time, but we went on to red start then in the end of November.
You got a bit put in, and
yeah, well, we had put in on the maize ground. When did we put that in? End of July. Yeah.
Good strike on it last year, and
yeah, we got good conditions at the time. We got a bit of rain, the only bit of rain that came directly after sowing. So,
would you normally grow, or was last year the first time?
Last year was our first time. Now
you were glad of it, though.
Yeah,
It saved us. Yeah. Absolutely saved us.
That's what I'm saying, like, it really hit at the wrong time to build up covers coming into winter. So I digress slightly, but that look, it hit the scanning this year was back. What do you normally scan on with that flock?
1.8, 1.9.
This year then it was back around
1.65.
So it was a fair hit. Yeah. So it was. Look, I suppose if we moved that on, like, look, at March was difficult. So it was. I remember being out on the farm, which is at the start. Yes. We're after a lovely February, so we were, but it was a difficult run through on lambing, I'd say.
Yeah, that constant wet just makes everything a bit more difficult, and there wasn't a day went by here we weren't going out to catch a ewe and lamb and bring them back in, and
it was far from ideal.
Yeah.
And look, I think there's the feeling in the country, like, it probably has hit stock a little bit too. You'll have had them in and out at this stage in the yards from Mad Iris and different things.
Yeah.
So it's relative to other years, possibly back a wee bit.
Yeah.
It probably hit the cattle worse because they were out that at least 2 weeks later. Do you know what I mean? And you could see the ones that were out in February. We'd put some out in February and put them in after 2 weeks, you know. Yeah. But you could see the difference in them now.
The clean up, it got that bit extra performance.
Yeah.
Like, to be fair, so you had a good grass cover at opening. You're probably all right for feed. It's just it was the weather that was hammering you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, grass was never an issue for us. Just as I say, conditions were so bad. Not saying they're brilliant yet.
No, I think somebody made a comment before that the spring isn't quite over yet, so it's not. But it was challenging. I suppose. Look, in terms of investment on the farm, you're running a lot of stock on it. On the sheep side of the house, she's made a fairly significant investment in a new sheep shed. You might just tell me a little bit about that and what she's put up.
2018, we went and built a 8-bay double-sided shed. Housed about 380 odd ewes. There was never any investment really here in sheep shed or sheep facilities over the years. There was cattle sheds built for slats and everything else, like, but all the labour was with the sheep, and there was facilities there, but there weren't, when we decided to bring them up to the 21st century.
It was a big investment, great shed. Like, I've been in and I've seen it. You have your lambing pens, you've all set up in that shed for the batch you're carrying.
Yeah, well, we have 19 single pins set up in the main shed, and then on the old sheds, then we'd have another 25 single pins. Yeah, so this barn during the day go across the yard, unless it's a hogget. And
you need to keep under your eye.
yeah, and then we kind of leave the ones in the main shed for nighttime lambing if we can.
That's all straw bedded. You're feeding on both sides. I've seen a handy adaptation you made for us. So you're feeding in the passage and you're feeding on the outside of it as well. You can actually feed. Just take me through the feeding process. So you have a nice adaptation on this.
Yeah, there's basically flap doors around the outside of the shed, so that I can go around, close all the flap doors over the troughs, and can go around put my meal in from the outside, and then come inside, do the front, open the flap, and half sheep will go forward and half back.
So you got around that problem of having to have two people, one running up the outside, one running inside.
Yeah, so it's just the whole idea behind the shed was a one-man shed. One man can move all the sheep wherever he needs to move them to, or feed, or bed, or do whatever.
We'll come to that bit in a minute, because that's another nice adaptation. But like, it's a simple lever system even in the shed. So when you feed the passage, you just open the lever and feeds there for the rest. Yeah, it works well. You have a couple of simple designs in the shed as well. Like I've seen a lovely pull-out barrier. It was a repurposed air hose with a net on it for moving sheep between the passages.
Yeah, well, it was just to the shed's quite a long shed, so you're just trying to shorten up the shed without having to go get 2 10-foot gates every time. So it's basically just an air hose reel with a balcony mesh attached to it, and sheep won't go where they can't see. Yeah. So they just walk up to it and walk along it. They won't even challenge it.
It beats chasing them up and down an 8-bay passage.
Yeah, well, you've got a hogget and you're halfway through lambing and she's going up and down like an eaglet, and you were chasing her at 10 o'clock at night. It's not great.
No, they keep you fit, but it mightn't just be what you want to face into. So no, it's some of the simple adaptations. I know even the water in the pens, she showed me some adaptations she made on that. A lot of that, like that, left life a lot easier, particularly in the spring, like this spring where, look, we were indoors for long and we wanted, there was enough of other headaches.
Yeah.
It's a great facility for that time of year.
Oh yeah. Look, I look at pre-lambing, I look and see where the labour is going every year and try and take one element and improve it. Like.
Yeah, and look, as we're chatting about this before, like if you took lambing out of it, that is the biggest input, labour, so it is for the whole year and the whole farm. I know there's work at other things, but that's the bulk of it. I told you that we made it outside, like even in the handling there, you have a batch foot back going in, you've made a few adaptations around the handling yard just to leave life a bit easier too, if you in waste way in.
Yeah. One of the big jobs, well, 2 of the big jobs is doing any dosing or handling with the sheep and weighing. So we put in a wide race to makes it much easier to get through dosing batches of lambs. And then the single race with inline weighing scales with a 2-way filter on the end, and then into a double foot bat, 1 wash and 1 chemical.
Batch up batch. You can run your 20-30 ewes a time?
About 30 ewes at a time.
So you're able to get through a good batch of time.
Yeah. So the entire double race will fill the foot bat.
Yeah, so you have a batch standing in, and when you're working on the next batch.
Yeah. So the whole idea was that every batch would see a batch in front of them. Once you got the first group through, they'd always see sheep in front of them and see sheep moving, so they'll keep following.
So every time they're in, you can put them through to get used to it. It keeps a lot of lameness issues at bay, so it does. Look, we're only getting a snapshot of your farm, but just we might talk a little bit about the grazing, the bulls. You got some bulls out early this year. Yours have obviously been turned out and if you could. Yeah. What way do you graze them?
Well, we always, our paddocks really are about 2 hectares, but we subdivide them, depending on the grass supply. But we would subdivide them then when it comes to the main time,
Like I was looking on the farm before, like your water drinkers are basically halfway down each of the paddocks, more or less.
Well, about 2/3 of the way down. That gives me the option of either halving or third the paddocks.
Okay, so you've got your mains running right the way around it.
Yeah.
There was always a trough at the top of every field.
Yeah.
So the next sensible thing was you were going to put in a trough was try and put 2/3 down. That'll give me both options of what way I want to split.
So when you're splitting, like obviously for the cattle, it's an easier split. It's a single strand they're using.
Oh yeah.
You're splitting for the ewes as well at certain times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where we can, and not every field is suitable to do that, but where we can and where there's too much grass, we will.
Okay. So I suppose, look, in the system, do the bulls stay separate the whole time than the sheep, or is it mixed grazing?
we saw the idea last year of the other farmer in Athlone grazing them all together,
Okay.
And we did it last week.
Okay.
We did it last week when conditions were good enough, and it was great. It was great for a few days. That you had the bulls, because we do have a particular problem with tetany.
Okay.
So I do have to meal feed the ewes with high mag meal area on.
Yeah, you're putting the CalMag in the ration.
Yeah.
So, but they would mix, if they're not even mixed grazing, they're moving around the farm. You have no set area just for cattle, no set area just for sheep. Or
no, depending on, normally it's drier than now, and we can put them nearly anywhere. But look, at the last few days it's been difficult.
You have to pick your place somewhere to go.
Pick our places, But generally at this time of the year, the cattle will follow the sheep rather than the other way around, And then when it comes to weaning time, it's the other way around,
Yeah. But it's like what we chatted about earlier, like you have a kind of balance of workload on the farm. In other words, like the first bit of it's very busy with the ewes, the bull system then it's more tail end of the year with vaccinations, different things.
Yeah.
I suppose there's a nice mixture in both.
Oh yeah, it is, because it's much easier to control grass when you have sheep and cattle than sheep alone,
You have a nice mixture coming in.
Yeah.
Look, when we're talking about that, you're growing a bit of maize for silage. The bulk of it then is obviously still grass silage. Bales or pit, what are you aiming for?
Both. Pit silage generally for diet feeding the cattle.
Yeah.
And then bale silage we'll use for the ewes.
So
try and make high quality short grass for ewes.
Taking out paddocks and...
Yeah, taking out paddocks mainly. The bulk of it comes from taking out paddocks.
And I suppose if conditions were ideal, you had mentioned this to me before we started recording, like you'd have had some out last week, but just...
Yes, we would have done some last week, only that conditions weren't good enough,
It's not playing ball this spring.
No, it's not playing ball, and it's making it more difficult now because we're going to get harder to get back in, do you know what I mean? That there's going to be more grass there than we want,
Yeah. I suppose even just for a performance point of view, like your lamb performance here is quite good. I've seen your drafts and stats on that on the farm.
Yeah.
What would you kind of attribute that to? Like your fresh grass coming in from reseeds, you're pushing them on with the cattle.
Yeah, and I'd say the other very critical thing we do is maybe we're in 23 or 4 days after cutting first cut silage, and we wean the ewes at that stage, wean the lambs.
And you keep the lambs in shoved on.
So they're on the quality, June can be a bit of a month, that it gets strong, or it's not palatable,
So it's your weaning, it's the infrastructure. Look, you mentioned the paddock size is right, and you can keep them shoved on, I suppose, in front of the rest of the flock.
Yeah.
That's the prioritising. The ewes go back a bit, the cattle and the lambs, and take preference.
Yeah.
And look, it works. Look, and as I said, there are a lot of other aspects I love to chat to you about, but I suppose the health aspect on the farm, vaccination is a big thing, both for your purchased in ewes, but also the weanlings coming in. So, like the ewes, when you buy them in, you're doing for...
When we buy them in, we dose them for fluke and 2 lots of worms, and vaccinate them, and 2 abortions then as well.
So you're covering ends on toxo.
That's the only time the ewes are dosed here.
Okay.
And their hoggets are always kept as a separate flock until after lambing.
Okay, so you're covering for the standard abortions, and you're covering for the spoiling parasites as well.
Yeah, and they're still growing, so we need to, they need extra over the main flock, really,
And you mentioned with the weanlings as well, you have a vaccination program in place with them as well.
Oh yeah, we do. It's all about vaccination, really. We very seldom have a bit, thankfully.
Yeah, but look, I suppose a lot of that is you put in the effort at that stage, and you're cutting out a lot of headaches, either lambing or with the weanlings. Look, it's been a busy spring, and I suppose you're gluttons for punishment. You put yourself in for another wee bit of work and tidying up. You only finished one job and you're starting again. You're hosting this year's Irish Grassland sheep walk.
Yeah, well, we're hopefully we'll have a little bit better weather next week.
All going well, Eddie. So
yeah, I think we're well geared for it, and we have plenty of parking and everything else for people,
So that's on the 18th at 6 o'clock in the evening.
Yes, it is. Indeed,
it's a free event this year, so I'll put details up in the show notes. But Eddie, you're doing a double header, like you spoke at the beef one before. I know I was on council with you in the Grassland, and now you're hosting the sheep one, so you've going to cover the two of them.
Yeah, well, sure, you know, it's I suppose we're accustomed to what we're doing, and we're not going to do anything dramatic, and I suppose we break a lot of the rules in the sense of not keeping our own replacements and everything else, you know.
Yeah, but look, it's an interesting system. So you have the tillage, you have the cattle, you have the sheep, you have a lot of labour saving techniques on. There's a lot to see on this farm. It's definitely an enjoyable visit, one I'd highly recommend. So it is, and everyone will get to put you through your paces the 2 years next. On the 18th at 6 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah, we're probably okay for that.
You'll be all right. I'm sure you will fit the video. Look, I appreciate you giving up your time to me. I know you are both busy. It was good chatting to you both to get a bit of an overview of the system.
Yeah, okay, great. Thanks.
We'll leave it there for this week's episode. I have included a link in the description to the Irish Grassland Association's webpage, where you can find out more details about the sheep event happening on Aidan and Eddie's farm next Thursday, the 18th of May at 6 p.m. It's a free event sponsored by Mullinahone. Great opportunity to see that integrated system in action and find out more about how Aidan and Eddie manage it. That's it for me for this episode. Again, for updates from our sheep programme, keep an eye on our Twitter page at Teagasc Sheep. I'm Kieran Lynch. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us for more episodes.